पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
We continue with the verses 9 to 14, chapter 2, the Sankhya Yoga. Evam uktva ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तपः सयोत्से इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः। तम् उवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन् इव भारत सेनयो उभयो मध्ये विषीदन्तम् इदं वचः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यान् अन्वशोच त्वं प्रज्ञवादान् च भाषसे गतासून् अगतासून् च न अनुशोचन्ति पंडिताः। न तु एव अहं जातु न आसं, न त्वं न इमे जनाधिपाः, न च एव न भविष्यामः, सर्वे वयम् अतः परम्। देहिनः अस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा, तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरः तत्र न मुह्यते। मात्रा स्पर्शात् कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः, आगमापायिनः अनित्या, तान् तित्यक्ष्व भारत. Sanjaya said, Gudakesha, oppressor of the foe, having spoken thus to Hrishikesha, said to Govinda, Lord Krishna, I will not fight, and fell silent. To him, O Bharata, that is Dhritarashtra, sorrowing in the midst of the two armies, Hrishikesha smilingly spoke these words. Shri Bhagavan, the Blessed Lord, said, You grieve for those for whom there should not be grief, yet speak as do the wise. Wise men grieve neither for the dead nor for the living. There never was a time when I was not, nor you, nor these rulers of men, nor will there ever be a time when all of us shall cease to be. As the dweller in this body passes into childhood, youth, and age, so also does he pass into another body. This does not bewilder the wise. Contacts of the senses with their objects, O son of Kunti, give rise to the experience of cold and heat, pleasure and pain. Transient, they come and go, bear them patiently, O Bharata. When Arjuna said, I will not fight, and fell silent, he is justified in saying that he will not fight because he has surrendered himself. Arjuna is a warrior. When he says he has surrendered, he means it and begins to behave accordingly. Now, his heart, body, and mind all belong to Lord Krishna. Therefore, he cannot fight or do anything unless he receives orders. He knows that the problem must be expressed clearly, and then the solution will come easily. Arjuna had his say. Now Lord Krishna will speak. Arjuna here is referred to as Gudakesha, the conqueror of sleep and oppressor of the foe. And the Lord is referred to as Hrishikesha or Govinda, the Lord and Master of the senses. Here, Arjuna is standing with his strength and alertness of mind. He is free from dullness and his strength is not failing him. Arjuna stands as a child before the greatness of Lord Krishna. His words, I will not fight, are like the words of a child who says, I will not go there, and yet looks to his father to find out his intentions. Once Arjuna has surrendered himself at the feet of the Lord, he becomes as a child before him. The next verse begins saying, Hrishikesha smilingly spoke these words. This expression of the Lord is used to indicate that lifting Arjuna out of his state of silence and hesitancy and releasing him from the benumbed condition of the senses And this is not a big task for one who is the Lord of the senses. The disheartened seeker becomes encouraged by the first sign of the Master's smile, which shows him without a word that his problems are neither so serious as he thinks, nor so difficult as to be insurmountable. The word smilingly also refers to the unshakable nature of Lord Krishna. Anyone but the Lord would have been overwhelmed to find that with the two great armies drawn up ready to fight, the hero on his side was sinking into despair. Krishna smiles in his usual divine, playful, blissful mood, while Arjuna is in despair. The two aspects of existence are represented here. On the one hand, unmanifested absolute bliss consciousness symbolized by Lord Krishna, and on the other, the height of human consciousness represented by Arjuna. Smilingly may also be understood as indicating the technique of enlightening a disciple by encouraging him at the very start. Now, the darkness is on the point of being illumined by the celestial light. The silence of Arjuna is about to be broken and made melodious by the celestial song, as his grief is transformed into the smile of the Lord. In the following verse, Lord Krishna begins his glorious discourse, but it should be noted again that he does not enter into Arjuna's arguments. He dismisses them all with the first word that he speaks. The blessed Lord said, "You grieve for those for whom there should be no grief, yet you speak as do the wise. Wise men grieve neither for the dead nor for the living." This verse reveals the wisdom of the Master. He makes the aspirant aware of his own position and at the same time makes clear to him his goal. Lord Krishna makes Arjuna see his present state of mind, in which he is grieving over nothing, and his goal, the state of wisdom, in which he would not grieve over anything. Again, Arjuna's goal is to reach the state of wisdom, to gain the state of wisdom, in which he would not grieve over anything. This also illustrates a principle of the relationship between master and pupil. The master is only concerned with taking the disciple from his present state to the goal. The Lord does not bring himself into the picture here. He only describes Arjuna's present position and the state to which he wishes to lead him. The Lord tells Arjuna that he speaks in the language of the wise, and in saying this, he also shows him how wise men think. The first mark of such men is that they do not grieve over anything, for they know that everything is in its essence everlasting. From the point of view of real existence, Bhishma and Drona and all those for whom Arjuna is concerned have infinite life. It is wrong for Arjuna to grieve for them. Can there be grief in the mind of a wise man, either for the living or for the dead? He does not grieve over the past, nor can anything in the present make him unhappy, for he is established in truth, the unchangeable reality. Again, Lord Krishna hinted at the goal, but has made Arjuna clearly aware of his condition. His purpose being to bring Arjuna to that complete dependence which will enable him to receive his skillful guidance to the fullest advantage. The disciple is not asked to be alert and listen, yet this effect is produced in his mind at the beginning of the discourse by making him aware of his position. Here Lord Krishna is giving the knowledge of the Samkhya. He is giving the knowledge of the wisdom of full life, the wisdom of both the absolute and the relative aspects of existence, which he calls Samkhya. Further, a close study suggests that the questions raised by Arjuna in the 5 verses 4 to 8 are answered by the 5 expressions contained in this verse. The first one is, you grieve for those for whom there should be no grief. Second, you speak as do the wise. Third, neither for the living nor for the dead. 4. Grieve not. 5. Wise men. Bhagavan further says, there never was a time when I was not, nor you, nor these rulers of men, nor will there ever be a time when all of us shall cease to be. Here, Bhagavan is presenting to Arjuna the permanent nature of the inner reality, the inner reality of the individual life. The nature of this spirit or the Atma in man is imperishable. Despite the continual change of bodies in the past, present and future, it ever remains the same. The permanent nature of the inner aspect of life, the self, is an abstract conception, and so in order to make it as concrete as possible, the Lord speaks about it in terms of himself, Arjuna, and those present in the battlefield. And this illustrates an important aspect of teaching. Abstract theories are explained by concrete illustrations. The Lord says, we shall all continue to exist even after the death of these bodies, for the self is eternal. Life continues to be, it is everlasting. Here follows the illustration which illumines the wisdom of Samkhya. As the dweller in the body passes into childhood, youth and old age, so also does he pass into another body. This does not bewilder the wise. The wise are not taken aback by changes of the body. The death of the body is like the change that takes place where children become grown up or when the young become old. Phenomenal changes continue to take place while the never-changing reality of life, the dweller in the body, remains ever the same. For one who knows this reality, he does not have great concern about the death of the body. But even with this knowledge, he still feels heat and cold, pleasure and pain. How this situation should be met is explained in the next verse. Here again, the Lord is saying, contacts of the senses with their objects, O son of Kunti, give rise to the experience of cold and heat, pleasure and pain. Transient they come and go. Bear them patiently, O Bharata. When one is firmly established in the understanding of the unchangeable, the wise are never affected by the changing conditions of the body during life or after death. The experience of the objects of the senses and their effects The experience of pleasure and pain are just phenomena which come and go. Here the Lord wants to show Arjuna that things which are not of a permanent nature should not weigh heavily. He is trying to say, take it lightly, for things will naturally go in the same way in which they came. Your life should be based on something which is of lasting nature. So, Arjuna, do not give importance to the consideration of the fleeting and impermanent phases of life. Rise to the understanding that the permanent reality of existence will continue to be, while that which is temporary will go on changing. So one should take life as it comes. This alone befits you, for you are called Bharata, the descendant of the great Bharata, who was established in the light, the reality of life. This is the essence of these verses, 9 to 14, the essence of Maharishi's commentary of the Bhagavad Gita. Now I will add a few words. It's important for all to understand that Krishna is present in each of us today, and he's still relevant because he's speaking to each one of us, each seeker in the present tense. Although while reading the text it feels like he has said it to Arjuna. The great war of Mahabharata was the first world war because at that time the whole of humanity, which consisted of 54 countries or desas, were divided into two parts. The whole world was participating in this war. One part was on one side, the side of Duryodhana, the Kaurava clan, and the others belonged to the Arjuna's side or the Pandava clan. When one is self-realized and enlightened, one becomes complete. This Purnatva happens. Such a person is aware when he will die and how he will die. Living and dying no longer become issues because one understands that these are natural progressions of nature. And being enlightened and complete, you just flow with the nature. Bhagavad Gita teaches many lessons, and one of the important lessons is we are responsible for what we do. Many people blame karma and destiny and not take full responsibility. But the fact is, we are responsible for everything that happens in and around us. When one takes responsibility for how one thinks and feels, instead of leaving the responsibility to destiny, society, and others, then one's powers, the inner powers of leadership, confidence, are fully awakened. If you don't take the responsibility, then others will take it on their own and make you a follower. The society, other family members, and many others who want to control you will take the responsibility for your body, mind, and intelligence and will make you a follower. Almighty nature is very powerful. That is why it is called Almighty. and we need to responsibly surrender our existence to nature. When we do so, the nature responds and opens up, and this is how the nature support comes. When one starts taking responsibility for all the happenings in and around, a new energy, a new possibility opens up. So even if you are the reason or not, you still need to take responsibility for all happenings in and around you, because it is affecting you. You understand that you existed in the past, exist in the present, and will exist in the future. Your face and body may change, but you continue to exist. Understanding the concept of time, it is like a shaft continuously moving from the future on the right into the past on the left. The future is continuously moving into the past. Every moment and every second it is turning into the past. The present is the point where the future and the past meet. Your thoughts consist of nothing but the constant movements between the past and the future. So for the most part, you are either worrying about the future or remembering the past. Only when the number of thoughts reduces, then you fall into the present moment. One important point to understand is only when you come to the present moment do you experience Atma, or the pure consciousness. In the scriptures or the Vedas, we have the word Kshana to describe the unit of time. And this Kshana does not denote 1 second, but is defined as the gap or time interval between two thoughts. The larger the Kshana or the gap between the two thoughts, the more in the present we are. So we understand that each person's Kshana will be different depending on how busy one's mind is. When the thoughts reduce and become zero, then you experience the pure consciousness or the self. And when one says you're eternal, it means that you are beyond time. With transcendence, with the continuous practice of transcendence and then the samadhi states, then one understands that these thoughts you will enter the zone of no thoughts and beyond mind. And this is when we say we experience the transcendental consciousness or the Turiya Sthiti, the pure self beyond time and space, the pure self devoid of the mind, body, senses and ego, the self alone. When we refer to eternal, this is what we are referring this eternal self and the Atma, the immortal self, which is the Atma. And this is what we are. So the gist of the second chapter, the Sankhya Yoga, is that you are the self, that you are complete and you are divine and you are God. The sage Kapila Muni, the founder of the Sankhya Yoga, does not elaborately talk about God, but he talks about the means to reach God, the methodology to reach God. It is said that at death, the spirit passes from one body into another body, and it has 3 kshanas to achieve this, and each kshana being the time period between the thoughts. So, a person who is fully awake, who does not have the individual mind, and who is thoughtless, at the time of the death, he just be. He just remains as the being and bees with the universal energy. All enlightened masters are in this category. We will continue further. For now, I will stop here. Jai Gurudev, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.